welcome to my channel All Things Militia, where I discuss a lot about what's going on in the political world and topics that pertain to everyday life. Thank you to all of my subscribers. As always, I appreciate you guys, your engagement. I enjoy getting your feedback on what I'm discussing, so keep it coming, you guys. And don't forget, if you see a video that you like, to give your girl a thumbs up, share the video, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. You can do all those things, and don't forget to subscribe if you're interested. So I'm coming on here tonight, you guys, to do a political reflection of Joe Biden, the former corrupt senile president. It's just interesting that, you know, the media told us repeatedly that he was the most mentally fit to serve until they couldn't anymore, which was during that 2024 debate that he had with President Trump. But many of us that were paying attention to news outside of CNN and MSNBC, BSC, I should say, knew all along that this man was not in charge of the country. And what's interesting is that they claim that he won 81 million votes, the most votes in the history of any other U.S. president, when he rarely campaigned, could hardly fill up a high school auditorium. But yeah, and anyone that questioned the election was called election deniers. You know how they targeted Trump, saying that he was an election denier, and I think he even received charges for questioning the election of 2020 that has now been confirmed to be stolen by the FBI. But let's see what an everyday person had to say about Joe Biden receiving 81 million votes, even more votes than Barack Obama, who had an historic election.
You expect us to believe that in 2020, Joe Biden got 81 million votes when no other Democrat even got 70? We're talking about basically the most popular Democrat in the history of the Democratic Party. This guy beat out Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and especially Barack Obama, which is the first African American to ever won the presidency. You're telling me that Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama? Now, I'm going to use my words carefully because I know TikTok like to take down this type of video talking about misinformation. I'm not spreading no misinformation. I'm just giving my opinion as to what happened in the 2020 election, because it is just hard to believe that this guy got 81 million votes, the most popular president in the entire history of the country. Do you guys believe that this guy really got that many votes, or do you think something else happened? At the end of the day, they still expect us to believe that Joe Biden, the Sleepy Joe, got 81 million votes. What do you guys think? Do you guys believe this data? If not, please leave me a comment below.
And what's interesting, you guys, is that the media repeatedly stated that he won 81 million votes, and anyone that questioned the election was termed election deniers, although they claimed to be the most open and honest, transparent administration, and said that that was the most honest election. Yeah, it's just interesting. But at any rate, you guys, this is the same media that while they were busy promoting corruption, were telling you that Donald Trump was a dictator, an authoritarian, and a threat to democracy and everything else but a child of God. But these are some of the reasons why many people knew that Biden was not mentally up to the job, and that didn't believe that he received 81 million votes, no matter how much the media tried to claim that he did. Here's one right here.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
What, Joe? Say that again.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Now, mind you, you guys, this is a 40-year politician, okay, and he couldn't even quote the simplest part of the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, but they wanted to talk about how mentally fit he was. And here is another example of his unfitness.
About Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Wait a minute, let's stop there. You wouldn't have picked who? Vice President Trump? Trump was never vice president. Let's hear that again, you guys.
What concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one. The fact is that the consideration is that I think I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again.
What concerns do you have about...
Beat him once and you'll beat him again, so you say. But now we know that that was a lie. And you called him your vice president. Yeah. This is another reason why people knew that, Biden wasn't in charge of the country. Look, this is him signing, I believe, I don't know if this was the Inflation Reduction Act, but let's just take a look at it.
Just make sure you have the right one. All right. Okay.
Look how Schumer's so close.
Here we go.
It's now law.
Joe Biden is being criticized online after appearing confused during his signing ceremony this week. The incident occurred directly after President Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law alongside Democrats at the White House. And this is what's so interesting, you guys. You know how they claimed that Biden's economy was soaring and it was the best, that it had, better than Trump's. Why in the world did you need to sign a Inflation Reduction Act? And I can bet it was some things in that act that was not, in favor of us, we the people, considering how Schumer was up there clapping. I mean, these are people that have been in political office for years and years, grifting off of our tax dollars while not doing a damn thing for us, but talking about President Trump every chance they get. Let's look at some of the comments. Why is everyone clapping? Make it stop. That looks like a group of heartless siblings getting their granddad to sign over the house. Their idea of an inflation reduction is like maxing out a credit card and then paying it off with another credit card that has a higher interest rate. Wow, he's looking at them like he's expecting a treat. Yep, it was evident that something was clearly not right about this picture, you guys. After he signed it, just look at how he looked at him. Confused as ever. Many people called it elder abuse too, for them to run that man like they did. I mean, he did skip out on a lot of press. He didn't do half as or nearly as much press as President Trump, because President Trump was in the press, speaking to the press every single day, multiple times a day. But I think it was like 60 days reportedly into his installation that before he actually held a press conference. And then he had to be given notes on who to call on to speak. He had to be told where to go, where to sit. Many people knew that Biden was not in charge. And here's another video displaying that.
One of the most extraordinary parts of the decision, in my view, is the majority writes, and I quote, women, it's a quote now from the majority, women are not without electoral or political power. It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line.
He want to laugh.
Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or political power. That's another way of saying that you, the women of America, can determine the outcome of this issue.
Yeah, repeat the line. End of quote. Someone should have told him you're not supposed to read that part. But yeah, at any rate, you guys, the media said that he was most mentally fit. And here's him again. Another reason why people knew something was not right with it.
Well, guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race. No! Well, let me say this as clearly as I can.
I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
He said he will beat Donald Trump. He will beat him again in 2020. That was in 2024 when he made that statement. So yeah, he was backwards. His mind was going backwards, you guys. And it's just sad that the lying, corrupt media repeatedly ran cover for him. Okay, if that were Trump doing or saying half of the things that he said, you would hear about it nonstop in the media. But for him, they ran cover for him. And it's just interesting how they would rather allow a senile man to be over the country than to allow a man that won his votes legitimately to have his rightful term, to complete his term without all of this division and chaos that they like to keep going on. But at any rate, you guys, this is Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, that tore up President Trump's State of the Union speech on live television. This is her taking the sit-down interview, and she was questioned about Biden's mental fitness, and let's see what she had to say.
Had you seen a decline in Joe Biden, and did you think he needed to step aside?
No.
Please tell us.
Of course she's going to say
what
no,
you told.
because they running him. They're getting him to sign into law what they want him to sign into law, and trying to do what they could to cover up all of that corruption that they were reportedly behind. She reportedly was behind insider trading, okay, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but you're supposed to be a public servant. You didn't get your money like Trump got his money. They love to talk about President Trump and how he's making money off the office, but he was a billionaire before he got in office. Many of these people came into office and became millionaires at the expense of taxpayers when they are supposed to be public servants, but they were only serving themselves. And to put a senile man that you could see clear as day, that did not have the mental capacity to even find his way off the stage, not alone lead a country, to say that you did not even see any issues with his mental decline, like, that's a bold-faced lie. And that's just how these people are. They're willing to just lie. Even with the evidence being present, they would just lie. And these are the same people that are trying to win in the midterms that I hope get washed out. But this is another clip of her making a statement about Joe Biden.
We'll go with such a consequential president of the United States, a Mount
Not the way
Rushmore
you-
kind of president of the United States. You
Are
want
you
to know
really
what comes
saying
next.
that he belongs up there on Mount Rushmore? Lincoln and Joe Biden.
But you got Teddy Roosevelt up there, and he's wonderful. I don't say take him down, but you can add Biden.
This is a quote out of.
Even the commentator, even the interviewer had to ask her, are you saying this right now? You're going to liken Joe Biden to being a Mount Rushmore president up there with like a president like Abraham Lincoln? And I bet you if he was on Mount Rushmore, his picture would look something like this. But for her to just sit up there and say that, this is just how bold they are with their lies. To even make a statement like that, that man didn't accomplish anything. He left the border wide open, closed down the Keystone Pipeline, drained out oil reserves, had a horrible withdrawal from Afghanistan, couldn't find his way off the stage, got lost while being led. Okay, reportedly he and his son was involved in a lot of corrupt business dealings with China and other foreign countries. He ran for office years ago and got denied because of plagiarism. But then he runs again in his later years and he wins the most votes in the history of our country. And she has the nerve to say he's a Mount Rushmore president. And she's another politician that's been in office past her time, grifting off of the American people. Just interesting, you guys. And this is what I would say to what she stated about him. I use his own words against Nancy Pelosi because this is how I feel about what she just said about him being a Mount Rushmore president and that she didn't see any mental decline.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got...
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier is what he said. And he was actually speaking to a potential voter when he said that. I wonder how the media would have covered that if Trump had said that. But yeah, we'll see what happens, you guys, because these people, they're bold with it, have been bold with it, because for years they haven't had to really work for the votes, because they have been able to grift off the American people without any consequence. And then came Donald Trump, who, if didn't do anything else, brought more awareness to what was going on in our political world. Okay, which is something that they didn't want. They wanted to keep a lot of things hidden because they pretty much were full of corruption and fraud, not working on behalf of the American people. And now that accountability is time for accountability, they're still using their media, the same media that said he was mentally fit to serve and say that he's a Mount Rushmore president, while claiming President Trump is a dictator and a fascist. Although Trump never mandated any new vaccine, he never mandated insurance, he never threatened our free speech or our Second Amendment rights. Cocaine was never found at the White House during Trump's administration. I wonder who that cocaine belonged to that was found at the White House. But these are major news stories. Even Biden pardoned several members of his family, including his son, but you didn't hear about that in the news. He pardoned Dr. Fauci. Why did Dr. Fauci need a pardon? The doctor that was over COVID, if everything was done legitimately. And I believe they used that plandemic as a reason to use the mail-in ballot so that they can manipulate the votes. And we found out that's just what they did. For the first time in history, on election night, the count was stopped. And President Trump was up in all of the remaining states with the majority of the count in. And then overnight, everything flipped over to blue, giving him 81 million votes, the most votes in the history of our country. Yeah. So midterms are coming up, you guys, and we have to keep in mind all of the lies and the misinformation and disinformation that the media reported to us on a nonstop basis regarding this man administration, how he came about, while at the same time doing the opposite of President Trump, not giving fair coverage. We have to keep in mind all of the things that they did. They should never, ever be able to hold the office of the president again. And hopefully we'll get them out of the House and the Senate, keep them out of the House and the Senate during the midterms. Bunch of lying, damn, corrupt crooks. That's my thoughts on it. Let me know yours in the comments, and I'll see you later.